So I just need to say that Margaret was one of the people who saved my life.
Thank
The
you.
day that I went into the hospital, Margaret was sitting in Gail Dixon's heart-centered movement, and I was in trouble, and she said this most beautiful prayer, which I took with me for the 6 weeks I was in the hospital. So thank you, Margaret. And the reason that I got here was because of Dr. Pat Rogers. Even though Margaret and I knew each other through another organization, Pat suggested that I speak. And I didn't know if I was ready because I was just really out of the hospital, but I did. And I'm really excited to be here. And I've heard so many things from people that completely resonate with what I have to say. So I might change things around a little because I don't really want to do too much duplication. Anyway, when I was in the hospital, I knew that I was one of those women who did too much. And I bet that a lot of you agree with that you have done too much, but you don't know how to stop because you're so busy helping everyone else. And my doctor said to me, you need to stop taking care of the world and take care of yourself. And the first thing he said is you have to learn to love yourself because your personal relationship with yourself has to come before you can help anyone, before you can do anything else. And I went, oh, I don't even know how to take care of myself. And it was difficult. I had to think about who I was, who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be with, the people. I wanted to know what things was I missing out on? Was I missing out on my photography? Was I missing out on my quotes? And I was missing out on everything. So I began to think about being single. I wasn't single. I'm married to a wonderful guy. And really, being single meant and does mean for many people, you can go do what you want when you want. And I think that most of you would say that. I got a phone call from a friend just a little while ago, and she's been married not for very long, but she had been with someone for a very long time. And I said to her, is married life different? And what seemed like a minute was probably only 10 seconds. And she said, oh, it's different. And she said, you can't just pick up and leave. You have to consider the other person. You're there and you have to work it out. And so when you're single and you first meet someone, there are a lot of things that you have to do. You clear presentation, clear communication is the very first thing that singles look at, whether it's body language, whether it's what someone says, how they act. It's you need to like start over and think about really what it is you want because you might want different things, and that's what you need to look for. With a married person, that clear communication actually came up because I did a study with 12 different factors. That came up last because when someone's married, that clear communication
Down.
is there. They have already been through what they need to go through. And it's not as important. Body language, what you say, what you do, all of that a married person has already gotten used to. And there's lots of compromise there. I want to tell you a quick story. In between marriages, was dating someone, and he was in Florida, and he wanted to go to a Phillies practice game. And there was an El Greco exhibit at the same time. And I wanted to go to the El Greco exhibit. He wanted to go to the Phillies practice. And that is when I learned that when two people are together and you learn what is more important to one as to the other, they're different at different times. And when there's a time that you compromise, it works out. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to the Phillies practice game with you. And that night, his company had a big party. And at that point, they had a big El Greco exhibit. So when you do the right thing will come back at you. And another one that I I have to say that when I got married again, I married someone whose values were similar to mine, but we behaved in very different manners. And in fact, a coach told us if we lasted 7 years, then we would truly be soulmates. And during that time, I thought he was controlling. He wanted to know where I was. He wanted to call me and he wanted to know that I was going to be there. And he called me a lot. And I thought, oh my God, this is so controlling. What am I going to do? And there were lots of things that happened during this time because I was still acting under the single attitude, but I was married. And 7 years passed. And we still had to use a life coach who taught us how to speak to each other. And then one day, not long ago, we looked at each other and the light in the garage was on. And he said, you must have left it on. And I said, you must have left it on. And he said, no, you left it on. And then I said, maybe I did leave it on. And then he said, after that, the next time he said, the light is on. Maybe I left it on. And so as you go along in a marriage, there are things that change. I just want you to give it time to allow for change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hansi. That was absolutely wonderful. You told the story so well. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Have you got contact details that we can put there for us? What you've got going, what's happening?
I put the details up top. The next thing that I have going, because I'm just getting back into my speaking arena, is speaking for Dr. Pat Rogers on October 18th. And I'm excited about that because it's a new idea that I'm rolling out. And what I really am is a relationship expert from the inside out and the outside in.